scenario we will see in the next 6 months if we don't stop this now? You've said 100% in some areas polluted, 60 some. Yeah. What's the worst case scenario with regards to our water security as a country in the next 6 months?
The immediate one will be that probably we will not get treated water from that water company. They will have to shut down. The long term is that most of their equipments will be destroyed forever and they have to bring in, so it goes back to the investments. But apart from just us getting water to drink, agriculture is affected already. We are going to have food security issues, not just water security. Economic growth will suffer. We are already in a system where we are struggling to see how best we can come out of this. So it is a complete system.
It's Citi on the go. You don't have to miss any of your favorite television and radio shows on Citi TV and Citi FM. Enjoy thrilling content from your world of great television and relevant radio at your convenience. Subscribe to CitiTube on YouTube. Turn on your notification button and receive prompts on our live streaming sessions and new content uploads. For easy access to the CitiTube page, scan the barcode on your screens. Subscribe to the CitiTube page and voila! Unlimited content awaits you. Don't forget to subscribe to CitiTube for amazing content from Citi TV and Citi FM.
Hello and welcome to the Citi Newsroom, live on Citi TV. I'm Frema Edunyame. Coming up. One person shot at Damongo in the Savannah region as police work to disperse youth, demanding the release of 8 people arrested in Buipe for allegedly burning herdsmen houses.
Because of one man, you arrest 8 of our boys and lock them up. So that is why we are with the overlord, to let him know that we are not happy.
Government extends deadline for bondholders to sign on to the domestic debt exchange program to January 31, 2023 to allow for wider consultations.
The minority group calls on President Nana Addo Dankwa to immediately suspend the ongoing debt exchange program. It is already failing and promises to be a failure.
Also in the bulletin, Inspector General of Police instructs immediate relocation of all police officers and their families from a housing facility at Apromase in the Ashanti region to another place following inferno that killed an officer and his family.
I want to just let you be assured that we will do our very best for us to come out of this situation stronger and mightier.
And later, utility tariffs reviewed upwards effective February 1, 2023. Thanks for staying. Now, one person has been shot as police work to disperse youth massing up at Damongo police station, demanding the release of 8 people that were arrested in Buipe for allegedly burning houses of persons who are not natives of the area. Now, this follows a call by Buipe Junapur II to the police to arrest the perpetrators. The youth of Buipe, led by the Gonja Land Youth Association, have been protesting the enskinment of a non-native as chief for Mande, a suburb of Buipe. Now, the youth argue that the enskinment is at variance with Gonja traditions. Meanwhile, the youth who have picketed at the palace of the overlord of the Gonja traditional area say they will not leave until the arrested persons have been brought to the overlord. Yakubu Jaga is the youth chief of Damongo traditional area, and he has been speaking to Citi News.
To tell the overlord that there is so much oppression on the youth. We're told some of our members were arrested and brought to the regional police command. We followed up to find out what they have done, and a lot of shooting came out of it because they feel that the law is in their hands and that the youth have no say in whatever is happening. So in this present Ghana, we are seeing that the oppression is too much. These modern times, one person cannot take people to ransom. How can one man, because of one man, you arrest 8 of our boys and lock them up? So that is why we are with the overlord, to let him know that we are not happy, and if we don't release them, we'll continue fidgeting here. Even if it is hunger strike, we shall go on hunger strike here till our boys are released. We gave them 4 days, 4 complete days for them to resolve the issue. And they delayed, they refused. They don't see anything wrong with the youth. The youth have no say in their affairs.
Now we stay in Buipe and talk to our regional correspondent, Richard Foggo, who joins us via phone to give us more details. Thank you very much for your time, Richard.
Thank you very much, Emma.
Right now, what more can you tell us about the chaos in Buipe?
Yes, as you just told the viewers, the youth of Buipe, or let me say some youth of Buipe, together with the leaders of the Gonja Land Youth Association, has been protesting the alleged enskinment of a non-Indian of the area for a new area they call Mande by the Buipe, who is the paramount chief of the area. This thing has been ongoing for a couple of months, and last week the youth issued an ultimatum to the chief to reverse that supposed enskinment, else they would advise themselves. And so today, the youth of Buipe massed up at that area called Mande and burned some houses and also pulled some down. Some new houses that were being developed. Others had people occupying them. They brought them down in protest of that alleged enskinment. The Buipe called the president today and said he had reversed whatever they call enskinment, though he says it was not an enskinment. It's a leadership role that he gave to that man to lead people of his kind in the area. But he has since withdrawn that today. But while doing that, he called on the police to arrest the youth who had gone there to destroy those houses, because to him, that were criminal acts, and he believes they must be punished for engaging in that. That has nothing to do with chieftaincy. And so the military and the police moved into Buipe later today and picked 8 people. Now, the 8 people that were picked were brought to the regional capital, Damongo, and the news having gone out that the 8 people have been arrested, the youth of Damongo massed up at the police station to demand the release of the arrested person. I saw the Demango branch chairman of the Gonja Land Youth Association. I saw the national PRO of the association at the police station in an attempt to bail the arrested persons, which the police did not allow. So as the numbers of the youth grew at the police station, the police decided to relocate the arrested persons from the station. Now, the youth didn't want that to happen, but the police succeeded in taking them out of the police station. Just minutes after that, the police fired some gunshots. I was there, I heard 3 gunshots, and one of the youth was shot on the left arm, as you saw in the video. Now, that angered the youth some more, and so they were attempting to attack the police station, and the military were brought in. So as I speak, the police station is being guarded by the military here in the capital of the Savannah region. So the military having come in, the youth then moved to the palace of the overlord of Gonja, the Yabungura, to demand that he requests the Bipura to ensure that the arrested persons have been brought to the Yabungura's palace for the issues to be resolved. So that was at that point that the youth then started marching up. I was there. I saw them making calls to their branch executives to bring more people to the palace of the Yabungura. 30 minutes ago, there was no police presence or military presence at the palace of the overlord.
Richard.
Yes.
Where is the injured person currently?
The injured person, I understand the youth has taken him to the hospital for treatment. And they claim that 6 other persons have been injured. I didn't see that. I saw the one person that was shot, but just a while ago when they spoke to me, the leadership claimed some 6 other persons have also been injured by the gunshots that were fired by the police.
Very well, thank you very much. We'll come to you later for any more updates. So I've been talking to Richard Fogo, who is our regional correspondent for Savannah. Now, still moving on, government has announced that it is extending the deadline for bondholders to sign onto the domestic debt exchange program to January 31, 2023 to allow for wider consultation. The move, according to the government, is to enable it to build consensus for the program. Now, this is the 3rd time the government has extended the deadline for the bondholders to voluntarily exchange their bonds for new ones. There is more in the following report.
The extension, according to government, is to deepen stakeholder engagement on the proposed policy towards a successful implementation of the program. This was captured in a tweet by the Ministry of Finance on Monday. This is the 3rd time government has extended the deadline since it launched the program in December last year. In its quest to address the country's ongoing economic challenges, government launched the program to invite holders of bonds to voluntarily exchange approximately 137 billion Ghana cedis domestic notes and bonds of the Republic, including ESLA and Dachi, for a package of new bonds. It is currently unclear how many institutions and individuals have signed onto the program. The domestic debt exchange program, since its announcement, has faced huge opposition from labor groups which managed to get pension funds exempted. Also, individual bondholders who were included following the exemption of pension funds have also taken a strong stance against their inclusion. The situation has put government in a difficult position as it races against time to secure an IMF board approval for a $3 billion economic bailout. Meanwhile, economist and lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Patrick Esuming, is urging government to take a more open and constructive approach in its engagement with stakeholders in the domestic debt exchange program. Reacting to government's announcement, Dr. Patrick Esuming described government's decision to extend the deadline for the registration of the program to January 31, 2023.
I think it was expected. I mean, as at Friday, if you see where we are and the growing opposition to the terms of the exchange, you always knew that it was inevitable that the deadline will be extended. But, if we extend the deadline and the government don't do things differently, I'm afraid that the deadline might be extended again, because it looks like the opposition to the exchange has grown and is growing over time. So I hope that the government will use this, take advantage of this extension to do a more constructive engagement with the people who are affected, to try and come to a resolution, something that will be agreeable to everybody. What we've been doing so far is terms are announced and it's a give or take. And then people will look at it and they say, no, we won't absorb these losses. So I think it shouldn't be just an extension with the view to doing proper engagement and get something that is agreeable to Ghanaians. And then we can move on with the debt exchange.
Meanwhile, the minority in Parliament is calling on the government to suspend the debt exchange program and engage various stakeholders on the exercise. Now, this comes after the government announced plans to extend the deadline for bondholders to sign onto the domestic debt exchange program to January 31, 2023, as part of efforts to address the country's economic challenges. Now, addressing the media, Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu said the reckless borrowing by the Akufo-Addo government has been a contributory factor to the seeming failure of the debt exchange program.
The government has announced an extension of its debt exchange program to Tuesday, January 31, 2023, following its expiration today, January 16, 2023, for broader stakeholder consultations. For the minority in Parliament, the government should suspend the debt exchange program and engage various stakeholders in the exercise. They say government reckless borrowing contributed to the country's debt woes. Individual bond.
The government, as part of efforts to address the ongoing economic hardship, introduced the debt exchange program to invite bondholders to voluntarily exchange 137 billion domestic notes and bonds for a package of new bonds. But over the period, we've had many of these bondholders turning down the invite. Addressing the media on Monday, the minority urged the government to suspend the debt exchange program and thoroughly engage these stakeholders before any further action.
We in the NDC, the minority group, calls on President Nana Addo Dankwa to immediately suspend the ongoing debt exchange program. It is already failing and promises to be a failure. He should suspend the initiative and engage in deeper consultation and allow for greater transparency in the initiation, adoption, and acceptance of whatever remedies we collectively may agree to in order to save Ghana's economy.
The minority bemoans that the debt exchange program would worsen the plight of the already distressed financial institutions in the country, because most of these banks have over 60 billion Ghana cedis in government bonds, and they are going to be denied the profitability of these bonds.
The debt exchange program is a risk, major risk, to financial institutions and to insurance companies, and now extended to individual bondholders. Our banks and other financial institutions are still reeling after the infamous financial sector bailout. The debt exchange program will further exacerbate the already perilous financial sector that we have in Ghana. They offer employment, they provide support to the private sector, and they provide support to businesses. This is at risk.
Although Parliament is on recess, the Public Accounts Committee had a meeting on Monday to examine the Auditor General's report of some state institutions, and on Monday, the Bank of Ghana appeared before the committee. The Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, said its institution cannot be able to fix the exchange rate because the day-to-day pressures on the economy contributes a lot to the cedi depreciating against the dollar.
The central bank cannot fix the exchange rate. It depends on what transactions have taken place that week. Maybe there have been payments to contractors. Those are heavy payments. Typically, that type of payments can move the exchange rate because some of them immediately convert that into foreign exchange. It could be payments for energy, for the energy sector. A lot of the energy sector payments are also, outflows, the impact on the foreign exchange market. So the exchange rate really reflects a lot of day-to-day pressures in the economy.
The Director of Financial Markets at the Bank of Ghana, Stephen Opata, indicated that the bank actually have enough gold reserves to be able to sustain the gold for oil policy.
We have seen, based upon even production numbers for last year, gold has picked up a lot, and we believe that we can buy enough gold to sustain the program. I must say that currently the numbers we are looking at is about 160,000 ounces per month, and that will represent about 50 to 60% of the consumption of the country. And according to what PMMC indicates that they can do, I think we have volumes to support the program, at least for the 50 to 60% of our production.
The Controller and Accountant General's Department also appeared before the Public Accounts Committee, and the chairman of the committee, James Kluche-Aveji, was worried that there was no COVID-related expenditure by the Controller and Accountant General's Department.
Under other expenditure, COVID-related expenditure, and the budget is 11.162 billion. 11.162 billion. That is what has been budgeted for COVID in 2020. Nowhere in your financial statement you told us by way of actuals how much of the 11.162 was spent on COVID. Nowhere there. So how do we track the actual expenditure for COVID?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Before COVID came into existence, we didn't know COVID. So when you look at our chart of accounts, you have nothing like COVID-related expenditure.
Monies were voted to fight the COVID. At the end of the day, we need to find out how much of the money voted was spent. Whether all the money was spent, overspent, underspent, we should know.
But a Deputy Finance Minister, Asawase NDC, said the government has actually collated all expenditure relating to COVID-19, and hence, when Parliament resumes, it will be laid before the House.
Government has constituted and asked the Director General to do an audit on the whole COVID expenditures, which they have done. And so I believe that when Parliament comes back, this will be brought or laid in Parliament for all to see.
Reporting from Parliament, my name is Ni Ayukwe Okain for Citi News.
Pensioners Bondholders Forum has declared its intentions to picket at the Ministry of Finance on Monday, January 23, 2023, to press home their demands for the exclusion of their funds in the government's debt exchange program. Now, the group laments that Minister of Finance Ken Ofori-Atta has failed to negotiate with them, hence their resolve to get their demands met. The following report has more.
The government has announced an extension of its debt exchange program to Tuesday, January 31, 2023, following its expiration today, January 16, 2023, for broader stakeholder consultations. For the minority in Parliament, the government should suspend the debt exchange program and engage various stakeholders in the exercise. They say government reckless borrowing contributed to the country's debt woes. Individual bondholders have also joined calls for the exclusion of their funds from the program. Pensioners are one of the expected groups to be affected. These pensioners lament the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, has also failed to negotiate with them despite the submission of a petition to further press home their demands. The group has announced its decision to picket at the Finance Ministry on Monday, January 23, 2023.
We believe we will get a right response positive response to our case. But if we don't get a positive response to our case, we have written to the police to grant us or notify the police that we would embark on convergence. We will convene at the Ministry of Finance and try to get the minister to speak with us. If we don't get the minister today, at least some 50 people, retirees, will convene there to support our representatives to go into that meeting. When we put it on the platform, they say, you know, we cannot be there for long. Some of them must go and rest either the back or the waist or the leg or the head somewhere. So going to sit somewhere for more than 3 hours, they cannot. So it is decided that when we go by 12, if the man says he won't meet us, by 12 we will come back. Then when we come back, we now go and plan our next course of action.
The convener, Dr. Edu Anani Enchi, added that they will only call off the picketing when the Minister of Finance, Ken Oforiatta, negotiates with them. He says that even though the government has extended the deadline, they are determined to achieve their cause.
We want to assure all pensioners who are holding government bonds that we are still engaging, we will be engaging government. These letters are also engagement. We are still engaging government, and we believe that whether or not the time for the closure of the invitation is ended or is extended, we have said we are not tendering in our bonds.
Now turning our attention to security, the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, has instructed the immediate relocation of all police officers and their families from a housing facility at Apromase to another place. Now this was after fire ripped through apartments housing police officers and their families, killing an officer and his family. Citi News' Ashanti Regional Correspondent Hafiz Tijani reports.
Close relatives and sympathizers grieved and wailed after news of the death of the officer went viral. The late 35-year-old Sergeant Osu Asante Befi with the anti-robbery unit of the Ghana Police Service perished in the fire together with his wife and a 3-month-old child.
We have lost a police officer and his wife, and it's very unfortunate. We cannot identify them. And as I'm speaking to you now, their dead bodies at Living Waters mortuary.
The deceased officer, described by many as hardworking, was an active member of the anti-robbery unit, which contributed to efforts by the police administration in reducing the crime rate in the Ashanti region. Other police officers and their families have been displaced and left traumatized following the incident. The Ghana National Fire Service is urging the public to install smoke detectors at their residential apartments to avert incidents like this.
The fire was well developed before they were realized there was a fire incident in their building. And you know smoke, when you inhale smoke a lot, before you realize it puts you down. And that's exactly what happened, and they were bent down. It's unfortunate, but that is it. In view of that, I'll encourage the indulgence of the public to install smoke detectors in their rooms. Smoke detectors. When you are asleep and there's any fire outbreak and the smoke detector picks the smoke, it will sound the alarm for you to wake up and for you to escape.
More than 200 police officers and their families live in these apartments located at Apromase. The fire that burnt this part of the facility damaged properties, although there were frantic efforts by fire officers and other neighbors to contain it. The Inspector General of Police led senior officers of his administration to commiserate with the victims.
You'll be supported welfare. Will be supported, that will be communicated to you individually and collectively. Your medical bills will be sorted through the medical director, will make sure you are catered for medically. And social support will also be offered to you and your family. Our brother and family, the administration will make sure that they are sent off in a very dignified manner. Because he died serving Mother Ghana.
The IGP, George Ekufu Dampari, spoke about further steps the police administration was taking following the incident.
We want to just let you be assured that we will do our very best for us to come out of this situation stronger and mightier. And a few things that we are doing after having discussions with my brother, the head of the fire service in the region, we have looked at it from the technical angle. The investigation is ongoing, and there will be a joint investigation between their good self and ourselves to find out what exactly happened and for us to be able to learn the relevant lessons from it. In addition to that, because of the fact that it happened within a set of blocks or flats, we don't want to take any chance. So I have instructed that all the other blocks not affected, we are going to have to evacuate all of you and give you a decent place nearby so that especially now that schools are reopened, the case will not be disadvantaged. And we are going to work on it now until we get to places of comfort and places that you are also happy to be. Whilst we leave this structure for a complete assessment by structural engineers, by electrical engineers, and all the other experts who can have a very comprehensive examination of the situation.
This incident is the third fire outbreak recorded in the Ashanti region within 3 days. Members of the anti-robbery unit have undoubtedly lost an active and vibrant team member.
The Inspector General of Police has assured the police administration will give all the needed support to victims of the fire incident. Hafiz Tijani, Citi News, Apromase, Ashanti region.
And may the souls of the departed rest in perfect peace. You're still live on Citi Newsroom, still to come. Member of Parliament for North Tongue Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa expresses confidence in charge to deal with the conflict of interest allegations against member and secretary to the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral, Reverend Victor Kusib-Boateng. We have the details coming up shortly. Don't go away.
My name is Tina. I am a person living with HIV. I got to know my HIV status after I gave birth and lost the child because of HIV. In those days, prevention of mother-to-child transmission services had low patronage due to fear and stigmatization. Today, many HIV-positive women have delivered negative children. I follow the guidelines and take my HIV medicine called ARVs every day, as prescribed by my doctor. This makes me strong and healthy and also prevent me from passing HIV onto any future child. Please avail yourself for PMTCT services when pregnant. It is the only way to ensure you do not pass the HIV onto your baby during birth or pregnancy. If you have tested for HIV recently and it was negative, test again when pregnant. to ensure baby and mother are well. Let us work together to have an HIV-free generation.
This is the neighborhood I'm having my twins.
The very reason why I took it for us. See, the price is very good and it's spacious to contain all of us. Alphabet City. Now I'm a landlord. I don't pay rent. And my Airbnb business is booming.
To me, Pamini, bank and I'm an Alphabet City. The pension pay me 20%. The payment plan, I want to share my just very smooth.
This is a healthy place to raise our families and creating peace. Come on, be my neighbor.
Alphabet City, the ABC of Home Sweet Home.
Alphabet City is a classy and peaceful gated community in Sakumono. We have 24/7 top-notch security and high-quality access roads. We have 3 bedrooms and 2 washrooms, 3 bedrooms and 3 washrooms with boys' quarters. We have 3 bedrooms and 4 washrooms. We have 2 bedrooms and 2 washrooms, all with beautiful kitchens and kitchenettes. Call Alphabet City on 0240-111119 or 050-44-99999. Alphabet City, the ABC of Home Sweet Home.
Pepsodent is aware that globally, 1 in 2 children suffer from cavities. That's why by giving her Pepsodent, you're not only protecting her teeth, but also helping her grow up and thrive at every stage of her life with a healthy and confident smile, so she can succeed and achieve all of her dreams. Because every smile matters.
Thanks for staying. Utility tariffs are to go up in the first quarter of 2023, effective February 1, 2023. Now, this was announced by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, on Monday, January 16, 2023, despite admitting the present economic challenges. Now, while the end-user tariff for electricity has been increased by 29.96%, that of water has also seen an upward adjustment of 8.3% following the conclusion of the PURC's regulatory processes for quarterly adjustments. For the end-user electricity tariffs payable by consumers, the Commission considered 4 key factors in arriving at its decision. These were the Ghana exchange rate, inflation, generation mix, and the weighted average cost of natural gas. The Commission used a projected inflation rate of 42.63% in its tariff analysis for the first quarter of 2023. Now, in some other news, Member of Parliament for North Tongue Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa has expressed confidence in Shraj to deal with the conflict of interest allegations against member and secretary of the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral, Reverend Victor Kusi Boateng. Now, the parliamentarian this afternoon presented a petition to the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice after he uncovered links between the secretary to the trustees and JNS Talent Center Limited, which is captured of being paid 2.6 million cedis by the National Cathedral Secretary for construction mobilization. Now, the fuller report by Citi News' Hansen Ajiman has more, and Hansen was there for us. Hansen, what else can you tell us about this issue?
Pursuant to some revelations that were made by the Honorable Okudzeto-Ablakwa concerning some contracts of the National Cathedral, he's here at the premises of Shraj to present to Shraj a petition of conflict of interest against the person of Reverend Victor Kusi Boateng. He's here in the company of private legal practitioner Eduji Tamaklo. He is alleging conflict of interest against Reverend Kusi Boateng, who is secretary to the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral. According to revelations he had made public, Reverend Kusi Boateng, under another name, allegedly Kwabena Edu Jemfi, is board chair of a company that has received a 2.6 million contract from the National Cathedral. It is his allegation that by virtue of Reverend Kusi Boateng being the secretary to the Board of Trustees, he has engaged in conflict of interest. He is demanding, among a number of things, that the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral should be dissolved. He's asking that monies that have been paid to Reverend Kusi Boateng, who he believes to be the same person as Kwabena Edu Jemfi, be recovered back to the coffers. The Honorable has gone in to meet the commissioners of Shraj. The petition has been handed over to the commissioners of Shraj. They are exchanging pleasantries currently at the office of Shraj here in Accra. We'll be finding out from the MP how he was received and how things went.
My client, the Honorable Samuel Okudetua Blakwa, presented a petition, which copy eventually will give to the media, invoking the jurisdiction of Shraj to investigate matters involving the National Cathedral and how public funds have been expended relative. Now, my client makes the point that he sees clear evidence of conflict of interest involving one of the trustees. And as you are aware, since they are in trust position, a certain level of good faith and candor is required in their dealing with the trust, which is the cathedral project. Now, it does appear from the evidence available that an amount of 2.6 million Ghana cedis have been moved from a private entity to the cathedral and back to this private entity. We are asking for an investigation into it.
The Cathedral Secretariat statement is very ridiculous, absolutely preposterous, and they have to credit the Ghanaian people with some discernment. You brought your own documents to Parliament and told us that you paid JNS 2.6 million Ghana cedis as contractors' mobilization. That's what your own document said. When did this become a loan? And why didn't you state in the original documents you brought to Parliament that this was a loan? This is a ridiculous afterthought. After they have been exposed, after we have found out that Kwabena Edu Jemfi is apparently Reverend Victor Kusi Boateng, one and the same. Direct, blatant conflict of interest. So we will not run after ridiculous afterthoughts. This has been a national cathedral drowning in deception, in fraud, in lies, and they have no respect for the Ghanaian people. So we have confidence in Shraj. We will wait for the Shraj investigation.
Meanwhile, the National Cathedral Secretariat has debunked these claims, insisting the monies paid to JNS Talent Center Limited are lawful. In a statement, the Secretariat indicated that the 2.6 million Ghana cedis was repayment for a loan taken from JNS Talent Center Limited to supplement payments to contractors of the National Cathedral project.
There was this issue of paying the contractors for their mobilization, and we had received notification that that transfer had been made by the Minister of Finance.
Okay.
And then we had informed the contractors, and this had delayed for quite some time. So you kind of wanted to be sure that this time around, the information we're giving them. And then we had a call from the controller's department that he couldn't transfer the money, the date they had promised. Apparently there was issues to do with some payroll issues that day. And so then the board member says, look, we've promised these people he'll be willing to give us a loan. And really, these are all verifiable information.
We have been speaking to Reverend Kosi Boateng, the person who is involved in this particular matter. He has refused to speak to us on the record. He, however, says that he has referred the matter to his lawyers for response, and when his lawyers are ready with a response, we will get that from him. Reporting for Citi News, Hansen Ajaman.
Now moving to the Ashanti region, the Asawase Member of Parliament, Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak, is calling for calm in his constituency following the recent misunderstanding between his camp and that of the Asawase NDC constituency chairman. He wants the leadership of the NDC to intervene in addressing the impasse. Our Middle Belt Bureau Chief Edward Oponmafo reports.
The Asawase NDC chairman, Faisal Dauda, and persons believed to be in the camp of the Asawase MP, Muntaka Mubarak, have been engaging in war of words in recent weeks. But the Asawase Member of Parliament, Muntaka Mubarak, insists he has no problem with the NDC chairman for the constituency. He, however, says he has reported to the police to investigate criminal allegations leveled against him by the constituency chairman. Mr. Muntaka Mubarak wants the party's leadership to intervene to address the issue by applying the party's rules.
I'm not going to respond to the issue because our party has a constitution, our party has its rules. I listened to all the frivolous allegations I've reported to the party, to the region, and the criminal aspect of it, which is somebody planning to kill somebody. I mean, murder is not a joke in our country. I've since reported that to the police. I hope our party will take our constitution seriously, our rules, and because a lot of the things that happened was an anti-party behavior, and our party front on that. After the election, the current vice chairman was the vice chairman. The secretary maintained the same secretary. The deputy secretary maintained the same secretary. The organizer maintained. The deputy organizer maintained. The youth organizer maintained. The deputy youth organizer maintained. So almost all the core executives are there. So there's this impression that is being created, oh, he's lost the council executives, that's why no. Chairman, woman organizer are the only people that change. And the communication officer, sorry. Even the communication officer, he was here, he's here. When we call for this he's here. So we are doing everything to make sure that the constituency moves. But you see, you cannot mix your personal issues with constituency issues.
This is the Citi Newsroom, still to come. Calm restored in Jamestown, Manchalbona in Accra following violent clashes over chieftaincy dispute on Sunday. We'll bring you the details shortly. Please stay.
I passed by your favorite barbecue place and I got you something.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your pain level?
No, focus, Ayana.
Push harder.
I'm trying.
No, but you've got to try harder.
I can't.
What I think is happening here is the usual bureaucratic nonsense.
They forced their way into the patient's room.
What? And they held the treatment over his head. And you're not going to stop until you destroy everything that is good and decent about this hospital. I'm just lost for words.
Thank you for rescuing me from that accident.
anyone can become a house owner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You Go Flip, a real estate gaming platform that allows you to play and stand a chance of winning a house or cash or consolidated prizes, such as savings towards a house. Simple and easy to play. Visit www.yougoflip.com. Buy a ticket to enter the game. Wait for the end of the game to enjoy the win. Anyone can win. Flip it or own it. You Go Flip. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Play responsibly, not for persons below 18 years, and gaming can be addictive.
Hello again. Calm has been restored at Jamestown, Manchagbona in Accra following violent clashes over a chieftaincy dispute on Sunday. Now, some youth took to the streets, smashed bottles, burnt a car and 3 motorcycles. Now, 10 suspects were later arrested by the police. There is more in the following report filed by Daniel Odro Mensah and read by Kweku Edriama Ansa.
It was a serene environment on Monday when the news team visited the Jamestown community. This followed violent clashes on Sunday due to a chieftaincy dispute involving some youth. Vehicles drove past with intermittent honking, broken bottles, smashed and scattered had all been swept to the shoulders of the street. People had resumed their normal activities. 3 police vehicles had parked to ensure law and order. At the time of filing this report, the premises of the palace was calm. Some individuals were seen having a normal chat. Some Okada riders who managed to flee the scene had resumed their business. Meanwhile, a distraught Okada rider, Nathaniel Akron, whose motorcycle was burnt, shared his frustration with Citi News. Other eyewitnesses also spoke to Citi News about their ordeal.
Wagwana mba domo mi na me mfomoni ni na keshi yagbele bele ale afomo kembanje on sa machine won ya wo moto e den chere ndi element ni mbu dan ka wo moto e sukun ma plan
manche me na wo one won shaka ka den chere ngme no ni sane e court na pass ko judgment we san mo ko ba palace no wale me ni meni ba na ma fe na kan ni me meni ba wa ma bi si no mo na ba no ame bi ba mi no aka wole nche wo ba tashi wo game wo ba tashi ni youth wo ba ko dwomo ye mi ke mi is ni ntane na ba mi t-shirt na mi opipimpo ma bi mancha ke ani ya na ya ebi ko ye mi lo ke ebi ko be mi akunja si wo game ene e bible make a lack of knowledge my people perish one lack knowledge to the extent akashi mancha ko bi be mi si 30 cities ka tale alo 50 cities ka tale be wo hie fuwe youths and what town no konu wa involve wo eke wo mi here each and every day when yelanga that say when yen site bi ase no dey san wo fio be won fe
And this is where we part company. This has been the Citi Newsroom. We have more news updates on our website, citinewsroom.com. Subscribe to CitiTube on YouTube for more exclusive video content from Citi TV. You can also watch Citi TV on DSTV channel 363 and GoTV channel 182. Many thanks for your time. I'm Frema Edunami.